How hard can graphic design actually be? Just download any program and drop in some forms, fonts, and maybe some images as well. That's what you might think when you want to create a flyer for your business, a logo for your startup, or you just want to create a birthday card for your grandma. But when you actually did download a graphic design program and start to try out the design you have in mind, you might quickly realize that it's not so easy after all. Hi, my name is Philip. I'm a graphic designer and art director. And there is one thing I have done for years now which helped me to nail every layout and every design I've done for a client or while working at an agency. If you don't have any design experience, the creative process might feel a little bit like this. You do pretty much nothing the whole day, then you have a drink or something else that enhances your mind and creativity starts to flow and everything is pretty much done by itself. But in my experience, it's exactly like this. Like sitting down and trying out different things, realizing that nothing works and you need to start all over and try something completely different. Fortunately, one thing has always come in quite handy though, and that's utilizing mood boards and sorting your inspiration in order to design the right thing at the right time. A mood board is pretty much like a collage that shows off the vibe you're actually going for. It could be for anything, like designing a website, planning your brand, or decorating a room, or even making a movie. You grab pretty much all sorts of different inspirations like pictures, colors, words, maybe some fabric swatches or snippets from magazines, and you just slap them onto a board. It's a super visual way to say, this is the look and feel I'm actually thinking about. But the best thing is that a mood board gives you examples for everything. If you're stuck with a photo composition, you can refer to your mood board. If you don't know how to start the layout for your flyer, you can let yourself inspire by your mood board. Or if you need to create a logo, then you can look at your mood board and find elements and ideas that you can actually use as a starting point. And because you have gathered all the different materials beforehand, which clearly define your look and feel, you have an easy time to actually stay on track with your design and be consistent in your appearance. To start creating a mood board, you have to define your project first. So what is the mood board for? Is it redecorating a room? Is it planning a wedding? Or maybe even a graphic design project? Knowing this will guide your theme and what you're actually looking for. And that sounds kind of obvious, but it leads to the second step of creating a mood board, and that's deciding on a medium. When it comes to choosing your medium for a mood board, you pretty much have two options. You either can opt in for a physical or a digital mood board, and each has its own charm and set of advantages depending on what you're most comfortable with and what you actually need it for. Let's start with the physical mood boards. These are tangible, hands-on, and have a certain old school and cool look. You need a big piece of cardboard, corkboard, or even a wall space. Then you gather all physical elements like magazine cutouts, fabric swatches, paint chips, photographs, and anything else you can pretty much pin or tape up. It's tactile, which means you can touch it and move things around easily. It's perfect for when you want to get really involved with the design process, or when presenting to clients in a more intimate or direct setting. The advantages are quite clear. They're tangible, so you can touch and feel them. You can feel the textures, which just adds depth to your inspiration. And there's no tech required, just scissors, glue, pins, and your materials. And it helps you to see how objects and colors interact in real space, which comes in quite handy if you actually want to do something like interior design or architecture, for example. Let's get over to digital mood boards. These are created using software or online platforms like Canva, Pinterest, or Adobe Express. You can collect images, text, color swatches, and other elements pretty much like the physical one and arrange them on a digital canvas. It's super flexible, easy to edit, and shareable with just one click. The advantages are that they are easy to share, so it's perfect for collaborating with teams or clients online. They have unlimited resources because you pretty much have the whole internet as your inspiration, and they're editable. You can change your mind as much as you want without starting over. When diving into the process of actually collecting inspiration for your mood board, you're embarking on one of the most creative and enjoyable parts of the project. This step is all about setting the tone for everything that follows, whether you're creating a digital or a physical mood board. Begin by casting a wide net for your sources of inspiration. Online platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, and Behance are literal gold mines for visuals spanning all types of different design fields. Try to use specific keywords that are related to your project to unearth relevant images, color schemes, and layouts. But don't just stop there. Physical magazines and books can offer really unique typography, imagery, and color palettes that you just might not stumble upon online. This approach is especially useful for adding different textures and materials to your board. However, inspiration isn't confined to the digital world or printed media. Taking a walk outside, visiting a museum, or simply observing your immediate environment can spark ideas. The architectural details, the textures, the colors, or the patterns in nature can all contribute to the mood you're trying to capture. If your project has a physical aspect to it, like interior design or fashion, collecting actual samples of fabrics, wallpapers, paint chips, or woods can add tangible tactile dimensions to your mood board that photos alone cannot provide. So as you gather all of your materials, still try to keep an open mind. You might start with a pretty clear idea, but the pure act of exploring and collecting can lead down a completely new and different path. Be eclectic in your choices, mixing and matching different styles, eras, or even seemingly incompatible elements. This can lead to innovative ideas that really set your project apart. Throughout this process, it's important to organize and refine your collection. If you're working digitally, create dedicated folders or boards to keep everything neatly categorized. For physical items, designate a box or a specific area to store all of your materials. But remember, not everything you collect will end up on your final mood board. Be prepared to edit ruthlessly, focusing only on what truly captures the essence of your project. As your collection grows, you will start to notice patterns emerging. Reoccurring themes, colors, textures, or motifs that resonate with the mood you're aiming to create. These patterns can guide the overall direction of your mood board. When it comes to choosing a layout for your mood board, whether it is digital or physical, the arrangement of elements is key in conveying the mood and message of your project. The layout is like the backbone of your mood board. It organizes and presents your collected inspiration in a way that is both aesthetically pleasing and conceptually coherent. Start by considering the overall flow of your mood board. You want to guide the viewer's eye through the mood board in a way that tells the story of your project. Think about the hierarchy of the elements. What should grab attention first? And what details provide deeper insight? Place the most impactful images or items in a position of prominence where they'll draw immediate interest. Balance is another crucial aspect. Your mood board should feel evenly weighted, without any one area overpowering the rest. But that doesn't mean that it needs to be symmetrical. Instead, aim for distribution of visual elements that feel harmonious. Play with contrast, light and dark, big and small, text and image, to create a dynamic composition. The use of space is important. Negative space, or the empty areas around and between the elements, isn't just filler. It gives your mood board breathing room, preventing it from feeling cluttered. Use this space to emphasize the relationship between items, grouping related elements together to create sub-themes or focal points. Ultimately, the layout of your mood board is personal and a creative decision. There are no strict rules, only guidelines to communicate your vision more effectively. Through thoughtful arrangement and careful consideration of how each element contributes to the whole, your mood board will become a compelling visual representation of your project's essence. If you have enjoyed the video and you thought the content was useful, please consider leaving a like or even subscribing. This really helps out a lot. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one.